Well, hey there! Welcome to the Jew Harp comparison, or maybe a better name for it might be what we got on the wall today. And we're going to be starting with the toy harps. These will be the harps that I would consider a toy and under $10. First here we have the mouth harp from Hobby Lobby. I think it cost me $6.99. It has a square frame loop trigger, and I believe it's stainless steel. Let's give a listen to it, starting at the top and working our way down. We're going to be comparing it to the Grover Alto Austrian Jew Harp. It has also a square frame, but a bent trigger. We're going to be starting at the top, working our way down, trying to establish and see what type of range these toy Jew Harps have. Not very big of a range out of it. This one does in fact have a little bit more flexible of a reed, whereas the mouth harp from Hobby Lobby, I've heard complaints from people that it hurts their jaw, it hurts their teeth. The reed on this is very, very stiff. Both of them are toys, not so much in the musical instrument range, but if you're spending less than $10, you're probably not going to be expecting much. That's going to sum it up for the toy range. I believe the... Actually, let's take it a step further. Let's go ahead and let's test these toy harps out and use them like some of our other harps. Let's do some inward and outward playing on the mouth harp from Hobby Lobby. See what we can get going. Not too bad as far as inward and outward playing. That loop trigger does help with that. Let's give the Grover Alto Austrian Jew Harp a play inward and outward. It doesn't do bad with the inward and outward plucking for a toy. Don't so much like the bent trigger, and the frame is a little bit short for my mouth. It's more aimed for children. Let's go ahead and let's give it some percussive noise and see how well they respond to the percussive noises. Almost no responsivity to percussive noises with the mouth harp from Hobby Lobby. Beings, the embouchure and reed on it is very, very loose. This is aimed to be a toy for beginners, children, and whatnot. Let's give the Grover a try. No responsivity either. The embouchure and reed on it are very loose. Probably the loosest of all the harps. Let's see if we can get any muting done. Let's see how well they mute from the back and from the front. We'll try backward muting with the thumb. Not much there. Let's try muting with the front finger. Pretty ineffectual. Let's give the mouth harp a try. Muting from the back with thumb. Not bad. I can mute it. I can go with that. Try muting with the pointer finger. Doesn't respond. This harp doesn't like to be muted with the pointer finger. Well, we'll give it a rest with the toy harps. We're going to move into the, we'll say, the $15 range. We have the Corinding and the Hone Tongue and a Dan Moy from Vietnam. Now, these aren't going to be played up against the teeth. They're going to be played more up against the lips. Let's give the Corinding and Hone Tongue a try. I can't remember which one's which. I think this is the Hone Tongue, and this is the Corinding. Let's give them a try. I think they were $15 for the both of them. Really affordable. Actually, let's establish a range. We'll start at the top with the Hone Tongue, work our way down, see what type of a range we have with these. These are made out of bamboo, and it's just they took a knife or a saw or something and cut out an area for the reed. reed. Let's start at the top. Let's work our way down. Compared to the corinding, compared to the Dan Moy. Now the Dan Moy is made out of brass, played up against the lips, and it comes with the string and this little carrying case. I do like that aspect of it. Give a look at it here. Just a stamped or cut piece of brass. Let's give it a try. We're going to start at the top. We're going to come down. Much bigger range out of this, but this is a thin piece of metal, and it's very, I don't know if you call it the embouchure on the reed, but that's what we're going to call it. That space in between there and the reed is very, very tight. So we get a pretty good range out of this. This one was $15 as well. Now, the corinding and honed tongue, I can't really play it inward and outward so much. I just play it outward. Let's give it some percussive noises and see what we get going. A little bit more responsivity to the percussive noises than our toy harps. Let's check on the honed tongue. Not as responsive. Let's try the Dan Moy. We're going to see if we can't get something gnarly going with our percussive noise. Very, very responsive. For 15 bucks, I get a lot out of this. Let's go ahead and, since we can't play these, the corinding and honed tongue inward and outward, we're going to get some inward and outward playing on the Dan Moy and just get a little jig going. A lot of bang for the buck at $20. And I would think it'd be good for people, especially if you want to use it for meditation. They're very easy to play. They're played up against the lips. And also the corinding and honed tongue, very affordable. You get two of them. They kind of complement each other. Not very loud, though. They are made out of bamboo, which eventually I imagine the bamboo is going to break, but hasn't broke on me yet. I do enjoy them from time to time. I don't play them a lot. All right, let's move in the, I'm going to call it the $15 to $30 range. Oh, that's not in the 30. We want, it's a pretty big range. We're going to separate these two out. We're going to do these that are in the $15 to $30 range. And then we'll go over to the eastern ones. These are Indian and Nepalese. Okay, we're going to do this here. Let's start at the cheapest in this range. This is the Rim Coppersmith. It is milled. It is made out of stainless steel. The reed on it is the only reed I have like this where it is screwed. There are two screws fastening it. The front of the frame is flat while the back of it's milled out. The trigger on it is looped. And this Rim Coppersmith, I believe it was made in Russia. It cost me, I think it was $13.60, and then there was $8 shipping, so it put it right around the $20 range. Let's start at the top and we'll work our way down and try to establish a range. Not very loud. The tone of this harp is really subdued. I do like the sound of it, but it's just a quieter harp, one of our mellower playing harps. Let's give it a listen and see if we can get it responding well to percussive noises. Does respond to the percussive noises, but because it's not as loud of a harp, you can hear me making the noise more than it going through the harp. I believe why this is because the embouchure and reed on it, they're not quite as tight as some of our other harps, and they only extend to about there. It's very much shorter than a lot of our other harps where this much of the harp, let's see here, that much of the harp is playable, this much of the harp from there is playable, almost half the distance, so we really don't get as much sound out of it. Let's try another one. This is a Russian Pavel Pokken. You can find them on the internet or through musical supply stores, anywhere from like $20 to $40. They're shipped with wooden case. The Rim Compass was shipped, also sometimes comes with a wooden case, but because I got it so cheaply, it didn't come with the wooden case. The Pavel Pokken fits in this nice wooden case. Leather strap. I traveled, took this up with me on a plane. That wooden case makes it really nice for traveling. Let's start at the top, work our way down, see what type of range we have. Bigger range, more output, but I believe that's because the space between the embouchure and reed that's actually playable is longer. Here we have it tight there, and from here on out it's looser. It really doesn't do anything for the playing of the harp. Let's give it some playing with some percussive noises and see how well it responds. A little bit better responsivity out of this. Now, oh, I forgot to show it. Let's take a look at it. In hindsight, it has a round brass frame that's milled out with a lute trigger. The trigger on it's quite a bit longer and at more of an angle than the compass. Let's move up in price. Here, this is the Zalagai Chancellor. Got it in D, and I got a special one that had a solder ball on it. A lot of them come with just a bent trigger. I got one with a solder ball on it, and most of them come untuned. This one was tuned to a D. All the other harps we've heard so far are untuned. Let's give a listen to it. Let's blah, blah, blah. We're doing this all without cutting, so we're going to leave in all the mistakes. We're going to take a look at it. It has, I think it's 3/16 square stock with a solder ball. Let's give a listen to it. Let's start at the top, work our way down, try to establish a range, see what's going. I gave $5 for this harp, and shipping on it was $4. I think shipping now is like $6 on them, so it's about 30 bucks. It has a pretty good range. This is the harp I play the most often. I'm pretty impressed with it. It's a really loud harp compared to some of our other ones. The Pavel Pokken, almost as loud, not quite as loud. Has a good range. Let's see what we can get going with responsivity to percussive noises. Very responsive to percussive noise, especially in this price range. And that is due to the embouchure and reed, the tightness of it. It's much tighter, so we get much more responsivity to breath, breathing, percussive noises. Let's see how, oh, we got one more. This is the Goering Blue Dolphin. I bought this from a friend. I can't find any place that sells these. I bought it from his private collection. The Goering Blue Dolphin. It has a squarish frame. It's square on three sides, and then toward the embouchure and reed it triangles M. It has a lute trigger, and the reed on it is dyed blue or blued. Let's give a listen to it. Starting at the top, working our way down. And this harp was, I think, it cost me $30. Very subdued in tone. This is also a not very loud harp. Does have a bigger range though. has a weird reed on it. It's super flexible, almost papery. But I do like the heck out of this harp. It's a good harp. And it may also be that, you know, I can't buy another one like it. Maybe that's what makes it so special to me. But anyways, let's keep moving. Let's give it some percussive noises, see how it does. Not overly responsive to the percussive noises. The embouchure and reed on it, they're not very tight. There's a space right here, about this range in between my two fingers here, is where the frame and the reed comes the closest. So that's kind of the sweet spot on the harp, and not much noise comes out of this one either. Let's go ahead and we'll compare it to the Goering Compass. Is probably the closest in tone that I can come with any of my harps. Now there is quite a bit of difference in between the snippets of the reeds. The reed on this one is very, very flexible. The reed on the Goering Compass, much stiffer, not quite as much as sustain. Let's go ahead and we'll put them up against each other. I'm going to play the same tune, inward and outward, and see how they compare. And we're going to compare it to the Blue Dolphin. Very similar in volume, better sustain out of this one. This one might be a little bit louder, a little bit more responsive. Now, let's blah, 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 brain fart. Where are we going? Oh, we're going to do some muting on this. Let's see how well they respond to muting. I'm going to first start off with the Blue Dolphin, muting it with my thumb. Let's see how it responds to that. We'll mute it with our forefinger. Man, I'm getting a lot of, don't know if the reed's starting to break in more on it or what, but I'm getting collecting a lot of whipping out of this. I'm going to mute it with my pointer finger. Compared to the Goering Compass. Now we're going to try first muting with the thumb. I can't really mute this one with my thumb because my thumb, in all reality, is too big to get into that tight space to contact the reed. Let's go ahead and we'll try muting with the finger. This harp, it does pretty well with muting. I'm impressed with it in that respect. Being in fact that the frame is flat on the front, so it's really easy to get your finger up against there, especially for using your finger to insert pauses into the music like I was doing there. Not too bad with muting, that one does. Now let's compare our other two. We've got the Hobble Pokken, which is 20, I think some places sell them as high as 40, but a lot of the places you'll find they're 20 with a case. And then the Zalagai Chancellor, 25, shipping was 4, so just right under 30. Let's go ahead and do some muting on the Hobble Pokken. I'm going to be muting with my thumb. Now we'll be muting with the pointer finger. Not too bad as far as muting goes on that one. Very, very easy to mute. The smallness of it makes it easy to get your thumb around back and the finger around front. Now there's a Zalagai Chancellor. I've been mispronouncing. I got corrected on that last week. This is not Zalagai, it is Zalagi. The Zalagi Chancellor. We're going to be muting with the thumb. Very, very easy to mute this. This is, in my opinion, a perfect harp for beginners because it's easy to hold, easy to get the thumb onto. It's very easy to get your thumb on the back of there. Let's give a try with muting with the finger on front. Very easy to play this harp, is it? in my opinion, it's really responsive, really good buy for the money. Both of these are pretty good buys for the money. I like them. Okay, moving forward. Still in the $15 to $30 range, or do we say $20 to $30 range? Whatever. We're still in that price range, but we're going on to the Eastern harps. Different animals here. We have the Morchang from India. Not sure of the manufacturer of this. The Morsing from India. And the Nepalese Merchunga. Let's go ahead and we'll start with the Morchang from India. This is brass frame and is a diamond. Okay, the camera shut off. But we're going to get back right into this. Keeping moving. This is a very long comparison, so strap yourselves in, grab yourself a beer, a coffee, some popcorn, blah, blah, blah. Here we have the Morchang from India. It has a brass diamond-shaped or square frame with a loop trigger. One thing I do like about these is the reed or tongue extends past, making it really nice to hold. This extending it past there really doesn't do anything extra for the sound. It's, gives it aesthetically a different look, and you can hold it in different ways. Do like that. Here we have the Morsing from India. This has a steel frame, a steel diamond-shaped frame. I think this was forged by hand over a fire, kind of like that one was, with a looped trigger, and the reed extends past there. One thing I noticed is different about the Morsing. If we look at the crimp on here, that looks like it's crimped by a machine. It doesn't look like it's been hammered. This one actually looks like somebody took a peen or a hammer and hammered it over. Very cool look to it. Now the Nepalese Merchunga, not from the same company or same maker, but I still put it in the same class. They kind of have the same gnarly sounds to them. Brass frame with a loop trigger, much smaller. Let's compare them in size here. Getting deeper with the comparison. The Morsing is probably the biggest of all this, most definitely the heaviest and thickest. I think at the back of the frame it was exceeding a 1/4 inch. Let's start with the Morchang here. We're going to start at the top, work our way down. These are going to be a little bit different of an animal than some of the European and Russian harps, but they're used to play a different style of music, and they're complementing different styles of instruments. Let's start at the top and work our way down. Not a very big range. The embouchure and reed on this are a little bit looser. Let's give the Morsing a try. We're going to start at the top. We're going to work our way down. A lot more volume, a little bit lower of a tone, but a lot more volume on the Morchang, and we have a tighter embouchure and reed here. We'll compare them side by side. Let's take a look. See, there's the distance we have there compared to the distance we have on the Morchang, a lot looser. And this probably isn't the representation of all Morchangs. There's a lot of different makers out there, a lot more expensive Morchangs than this. Now, let's try the Nepalese Merchunga. We'll start at the top, we'll come down. Decent range, a little bit higher in tone than the Morsing, yet lower than the Morchang. It might be a little bit louder than the Morsing, I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and let's give some percussive noises and feed them into the Morchang. Not overly responsive to the percussive noises, being that the embouchure and reed on them are a little bit looser. Let's go ahead and try the Morsing. Not bad, it does a little bit better than the Morchang. And we'll try the Merchunga. does a little bit better. One thing I probably should be doing is testing how they respond to breath and breathing. I think I skipped that on the other harps. Let's go ahead and we'll do some inward-outward playing and put a little bit of breathing to it. Doesn't do bad. It doesn't excel at breathing like some of the European and Russian harps do. But a cool, different sound. Nonetheless, I do like the sound of the Morchangs and the Morsings, but they're just the Morchang, especially that I have, this cheaper one, which is probably considered a children's toy over in India. It does have a cool, just different sort of sound. Blah, 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 blah. Different sort of sound to it. Okay, let's do some inward and outward playing and breathing on the Morsing. All three of these harps, they're very easy to play inward and outward with the loop trigger and the way the triggers are at an angle. Out of all these three, I'd say the Merchunga is probably my favorite, the best playing, and the most responsive. The Morsing, I've noticed, it has such a stiff reed. It does kind of fatigue your teeth, and it did mine especially at first. But all three of these, I do like them. Okay, we're going to move into the $30 and up range on our harps. Let's start at the bottom here. This is the Schluter Mal Tremolo or Mal Tremolo. It's made in Germany. It has a round frame that's milled out. I think it's some type of German silver. That's the way it was advertised, with a looped trigger. This one is tuned. This is another tuned one. This one is tuned to mid-E. The thing I've noticed about this one is you do have to be careful with it a little bit, because the edges of it are very sharp, much like the Glaser and Compass. If you're not careful and you're overblowing it and your lip gets caught there, it will cut your lip just a little bit. It'll draw blood, but nothing serious. Let's go ahead and give it a start at the top, work our way down. Very big range, very loud harp, due to the fact that this is one of the tightest embouchures and reeds in my collection. I do like this harp quite a bit. A lot of noise comes out of that. This one was $38, and I think with shipping it was $43 or $44. And this would be the mid or high A from Zalagi. It's a black fire, and it came labeled as a high A, but the guy I bought it from said it was a mid A. It's somewhere in there. A, I believe, is higher up in the key. So, anyways, I digress. It has a square or diamond-shaped frame, much thicker diamond-shaped frame. The reed and embouchure on it is very tight, and I requested one that has a solder ball on it. We'll just compare it to its little brother, which it's bigger, but little brother, the Zalagi Chancellor, has a much thicker frame. This is a beefy harp. Let's start at the top. We'll work our way down. Really big range we get out of this one. I do like the black fires. I have two black fires, and I like both of them. Let's go ahead, and these last two are bass harps. This is the this black fire. I got it. I think it was $50, and shipping on it was $5 or $6. So this is we're getting up there in price range. Here we have the black fire in low E. It has a square frame with a solder ball, and this one is tuned as well. This is tuned to a low E. Let's start at the top, work our way down. Very sensitive these Blackfires are. Has a decent range. I feel that the high or mid A has a bigger range than this one does. The bass harps seem to require a lot more precision because we have this long reed wagging back and forth, and it's much, much easier for it to contact the frame and get a click. Now this is a unique one. This one I got as a present for my wife. This is the Masco Titan. It is a bass harp tuned to a low F sharp. It has a square or diamond shaped frame, and it's some type of steel. It's not stainless, and it has a loop trigger with a ball in it. I really dig this. It has a ball in it, a magnetic ball that you can poke out that changes the tone of it. So it's kind of like having two harps in one. So let's go ahead and start at the top and work our way down. First with the ball in there, we're going to have two separate tones. The ball, what it does is it adds more weight to the trigger so the reed moves more slowly, lowering the tone. So let's start at the top, work our way down with the ball in it. Pretty decent range out of it. Very low, very gnarly tone. I do like the F sharp that this produces. Now with the ball removed, and this thing, it won't come flying out of here. It's got quite a bit of a magnet to it. With the ball removed, let's start at the top and work our way down. I like this harp quite a bit. It is the hardest of all my harps to play. Requires a lot more precision. The reed on it is a lot longer, even compared to the Blackfire and Low E. This is a big, beefy harp, and the embouchure and reed on it are very, very tight. I don't even know if the camera will pick up the space in between there. We'll compare it even to as a log is. Let's just do an unfair comparison. We're going to compare the loosest to the tightest. Here's the distance in between a toy harp and the Masco Titan. Now, let's go ahead. We'll start back with the Schluter Mal Tremolo and feed it some percussive noises, see how it responds. Ultra responsive, very responsive to breath, breathing, percussive noises. Excellent, in my opinion, the Schluter Mal Tremolo is. The Log Eye Blackfire and A. It's a Log E. There's a Log E Blackfire, and A does excellent as far as percussive noises are retained, or as far as they do. The Blackfire in Low E. Let's give it a try. Also, completely passable in its responsivity. All these harps we get into this price range, they're not for beginners. They're very tight embouchures and reeds, especially the bass harps. You gotta have a whole lot more precision hitting them, and you'll probably hear I was clicking a little bit on this one, a little bit more difficult to play. Now the Masco Titan. Now that was without the ball. This one has kind of a 1-2 punch to it. We'll go ahead and we'll put the ball in there, lower the tone, see how it responds there. Very good. All four of these harps, in my mind, are winners. They're worth the money I paid for them. I like them. Let's go ahead and let's try some more advanced techniques on some of these. we're going to be doing some muting and see how the Schluter responds to muting. First, I'm going to be muting with the thumb, then the finger. Very, very excellent muting with the thumb. With the finger, didn't do bad. It's a little bit harder to mute because of that round frame and the way it's milled out. The Zalagi Chancellor, or Zalagi, man, this is a long comparison. Starting to have a brain stop functioning. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of muting here. Excellent muting on the Blackfire in A, both with the thumb and the finger. Really easy to do. The Blackfire in low E. Not as easy to mute, not as good on the muting aspect of it. Let's go ahead and give the Titan a try. Oh, camera's about to run out of battery. I'm gonna cut and get right back to you. All right, back with you. Got the camera battery changed. Let's go ahead. What were we doing? Oh, yes, we was about ready to try muting out on the Masco Titan with the ball in. Let's see how it mutes. Very good muting out of this. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot of reed to work with. If you notice, I was muting it at different places, changing the tone. Let's go ahead and remove the ball and see what we can do muting-wise. That ball, it really sticks in there. That's a heck of a magnet it's got on there. A lot. I do enjoy this harp a lot. I mute this harp probably a lot more than my other harps because there's so much reed to work with, and there's so many different ways I can mute it and change the sound. Discovering new stuff every day about muting and just growing my skill. Really enjoy that muting wise. Now we're going to try another technique. Remember the Corinding and Hone Tongue, the Vietnamese Dan Moi, how we play up against the lips. Well, we can do that with almost every harp. Let's go ahead and we'll give this a try, playing the harp up against the lips and changing from the teeth to the lips. The Schluter is a lot harder to do this with because you run more of a risk of cutting your lip when you change from lip playing to teeth playing. But let's go ahead and we'll give it a try anyways. Doesn't do as well with the lip playing. Something about that thin frame just doesn't really like to resonate when put up against the lips, but still doable. You just got to be careful not to get your lip caught in between the trigger and the frame. Let's go ahead and we'll give the Blackfire in A a try. Out of all the harps, this one is the easiest to do the lip technique with. It's this big beefy frame really lends itself to changing from the teeth to the lip playing technique. Really easy to do on this, and it resonates really well lip playing. Like it quite a bit for that. The Zalagi Blackfire in low E. Doesn't do as well with the lip playing. I think it's due to the fact that the frame is so long and big that a lot of the vibrations when pressed up against your lips gets lost in your lips, whereas this shorter frame really excels at it. Let's go ahead and we'll give the Masco a try at that. That was without the ball. Let's go ahead and we'll put the ball in. I do like the option of getting two different tones out of a harp. That's pretty cool. Not as responsive. The Blackfire in A with that short frame really does the best at the lip playing. We'll go ahead and we'll try that with a couple other ones. Let's try it with the Chancellor and the Pokken. They do okay at it. These smaller frames are a little bit harder to transition to lip playing, but it's definitely doable. Hobble Pokken. Not bad those two do, but not quite as good as the smaller Blackfire. It does about the best at that. Let's go ahead and let's run back through the harps. Let's just go ahead and we'll do some inward and outward plucking and see how fast we can get them moving. And the Masco Titan, not really sure what the price is on it. It was a gift from my wife, but I'm jumping all over the place. Let's go ahead and start at the top or at the bottom from the cheapest harps and just run through them. I'm just going to go ahead and play the same tune as fast as I can. Some harps excel at playing in and out, some don't. Here's the Grover. Don't really like playing this one inward and out fast. That loop trigger that comes up at kind of a recurve, or not loop, bent trigger that comes up at kind of a recurve, not as easy to hit inward and outward. The mouth harp from Hobby Lobby. Much easier to get playing inward and outward due to the big loop trigger. Now, what else we got here? We're going to go ahead and go Eastern with it. We're going to go with the Morchang. Very easy to play quickly inward and out. Morsing from India. Short loop trigger. Easy to get going inward and outward. Very fast. Nepalese Machunga. Very, very fast. All three of these Eastern playing cards are easy to play fast. And we'll take the Zalagi Chancellor. Not bad at playing inward and outward. The solder ball trigger kind of hooks a little bit, but sometimes that helps. Now, the Hobble Pokken, played inward and outward. Probably the easiest the Hobble Pokken is, and the fastest of all my harps, has a nice long trigger that's, out of all my harps, it curves outward the most. It's really easy to get going inward and outward if you're trying to speed pluck. Now the Schluter Mal Tremolo. This one does very, very well at inward and outward playing. Loop trigger, it is recurved in, but it just, something about how they set it up, very easy to catch like that. The Zalagi in A. Doesn't do bad with the quick playing, with the speed playing. Has a shorter trigger. Sometimes those shorter triggers are a little bit harder to hit. The Zalagi in low E does not excel at speed playing. It has too long of a reed, and you just can't play it as fast. The Masco Titan. For a bass harp, a lot easier to play inward and outward, speed-wise. If you get used to the fact that you can't catch the trigger as much with your finger, you need to brush it more. Let's go ahead and we'll remove that ball out of there and see how fast we can play it inward and outward. very decent at playing inward and outward. Oh, we did skip one here in the mid. We skipped two, actually. What a mess. This is the Blue Dolphin from Bill Goring. Very easy to play inward and outward. It, like the Pokken, the Hobble Pokken, has the trigger sticking outward in an angle and looped. Easy to play inward and outward. The Goering compass. Actually, it moves pretty good at speed. That trigger is, that looped, it's not even looped, it's more of a spiral, like a cinnamon roll, is really, really easy to catch. One more thing we can try on our harps. Let's try a technique I call overblowing, where instead of just breathing inward and outward, I'll blow outward hard and distort them. We're only going to do the harps that, well, we can go ahead and we'll try it on the toy harps. First, before we start, I'll give you a listen of how this should sound. Overblowing it. We'll try this with a toy harp. Can we overblow it? Not at all with the Grover. Let's try the Hobby Lobby. Ah. I got injured playing a Jew Harp. Not really. A lot of it, the embouchure and reed on it's so loose that a lot of that overblowing is getting moved out of there. Now, moving up, we'll try the Goering compass. A lot of the overblow is getting lost because the usable part of the embouchure and reed is at the end. A lot of that air is escaping. Now we will try the Zalagi Chancer. Really excels at the overblowing. It's got that nice long embouchure and reed that's decently tight. We'll go ahead and we'll try the Hobble Pokken. Doesn't do bad. Now moving on to the Eastern Harps. This is quite a long comparison. The Morchang from India. Doesn't do bad. Has a different tone. I do enjoy the Eastern Harps. The Morsing from India. I believe Enoch is who made this. Not at all responsive to the overblowing. Try the Nepalese Merchunga. Does decent. Now the Schluter Mal Tremolo. Now I don't like overblowing this harp. It's kind of dangerous. Whenever I overblow, sometimes my lip will get caught in there and it'll cut me. But we're going to go ahead and give it a try anyways. If you're careful, you can do this technique with this harp. To the Zalagi in A. Doesn't do bad out of all my harps. I think the Chancellor, for some reason, does the best at it. Oh, we skipped one in the mid-priced range. This is the Blue Dolphin. Doesn't do too well with overblowing it. Let's try the Black Fire in low E. Does really well. That tight embouchure and reed, it being longer, doesn't allow as much space for the air to escape. Does really well with it. Try the Masco Titan. Does pretty well. That is going to, well, how are we gonna do the outro on this? I haven't even given that any thought. I've just been talking for, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes. I'm running out of ideas. All these harps, they're in different price ranges, different uses, different goals behind each of these harps. The Eastern harps are a lot different than some of the European harps, are different from the sound of the Russian harps, are different from your toy harps. There's a lot of different harps out there for a lot of different applications. And I just wanted to give you a comparison of what I got hanging on the wall. Well, that's going to be it for the Jew Harp comparison, or in summary, what we got on the wall. Like, share, and subscribe for more harpery. Harp out. Which harp am I going to play as I walk away? The chance, one of my favorites.